Yes, sir. Yo. Hey, 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 hey. What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything you can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, what's real, like it's in a galactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a battle star. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off. Like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, where the guardians of the galaxy, like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, really there is no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Pick me up on that mothership so we can fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the sun.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
Hey, everybody, we are back. It is another Wednesday night, and you know what time it is. It's 8 p.m. It's the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And tonight we got a interesting topic. You know, I always have my brain dumps. We're talking about, are you looking for a relationship or a child to raise? So we're gonna do like a quick, deep dive, and then we're gonna jump right back out the pool. So hopefully everybody's been having an amazing week so far, leading into the weekend now. It's Wednesday, so make sure that you are living your life with intention, and make sure that you take care of yourself. So first thing I want to mention is make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and make sure that you click that bell. Make sure that once you click the bell, make sure you say you want to see all the notifications. And while you're watching the show, while you're watching the show, make sure that you click that thumb to say that you liked what you heard, because you're going to like it. Like, that's what I do. I make sure you guys like it. So make sure you do that. And the other thing is, make sure you share it with your friends and family that need to listen to some of this good relationship content. The other thing I want to say is we're also an audio podcast. So we're on all major podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora. We're everywhere. So make sure that you check that out. Make sure that you follow whatever platform you use. Make sure you follow it, so every time a new episode pops up, it'll pop up on your phone notification. So make sure you do that. Listen to it in your car, in your headphones. You have the option to do all of that. So without further ado, if you are here for the first time, the way that the show goes is I will pause for 3 seconds. I will then start the actual podcast, and I'll pause for another 3 seconds at the end so we can chop it off and y'all can have that good audio in the middle. So as you come in, just say hi. Make sure, like I said, bring your +2, +3, +4, +5 next time. Chime them in, share. So let's get into this. Give me my 3 seconds and we're about to get it started. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones and I'm your host. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And don't forget, guys, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And somebody asked me earlier today, was I going to do any mental health related shows? And sometimes I do have something that I will title mental health. But if you guys listen to me enough, all my shows deal with mental health in one way, shape, or form. We mental health all the time over here. And tonight is no different. This taps into your psyche, how you think, how you make decisions. And we're going to take you on the journey as usual. You know, I do my brain dumps and I have some things that I want to share with you guys. And then, you know, hopefully you guys will find value from this. So tonight's topic is, are you looking for a relationship or a child to raise? And I know a lot of you will identify with even just the title and how that might feel, just thinking about being in a relationship where you feel like a child, like somebody's treating you like a child. Like, there's nothing cute about that. Now, here's my one disclaimer before I get started on my bullet points here. Some people like being treated like a child. We're not talking about y'all tonight. We're talking about the others that don't feel good when it happens. So those of you who love it, do you? I'm not your judge. But those that feel like, yeah, like I'm in a relationship and this ain't really what I signed up for, open up your ears because we're about to go on a little journey. So, are you looking for a relationship or a child to raise? So, the bullet points that I kind of just brain dumped on, of course, like I say on every show when I do my solo shows, it's not everything. These are just the things that I think are the most important. So the first thing that I wrote down was, sometimes people who treat their relationship partner like a child or subordinate, sometimes it comes from a place. You know, that magical place we call trauma, relationship trauma, childhood trauma, something just a little off, right? And depending on what that trauma is and how it's kind of manifested itself in your life, you could want to get into a relationship where you have total control, right? It's a defense mechanism. In order for you to feel like if you're in control, that you won't get hurt. But the byproduct of that is the other person doesn't have a voice, right? So it's kind of like a father, daughter, mother, son, whatever. You know, it's like a parent talking to a child, like, do what I say, not as I do. Just do it this way. Don't worry about your input. Just do it my way. And we're going to talk about what that looks like for the other party underneath the hood in a little bit, because it's not a happy place. despite the smiles and the Instagram posts. It's not a happy place to be on the receiving end of this. Like I said, unless you're one of those people that like it. So think about that. Have you ever been in a relationship where somebody kind of talked down to you or tried to control everything so that you didn't have a voice? Made you feel like a child? Made you feel like, why are they talking to me like that when they supposed to love me and we supposed to be here? Something ain't right. But here's the trap that we fall into. Sometimes people will not show you this part of them when they're trying to get you. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in depth as well. So by the time you actually start to see these signs, you're already in love. You know, love, the magical creature that makes decisions for us and the brain shuts off. You're already in love. So a lot of us, when we get that treatment, there's a fear of loss. There's a fear that I might lose the relationship if I speak up. So let me just keep the peace. Let me just do whatever it is they want so that I don't have to start all over again. Anybody know that feeling? Who wants to start over? So you take it. And we could put this under the umbrella of emotional abuse, if you will. But you got to have a voice. Because if you don't have a voice, it's a torment and a torture that you're going to have to deal with for the duration of your relationship. Because the other person doesn't know how you feel. And that it's even wrong to do inside the relationship. So the next place we're going to go is, and this one right here, it took me a minute to kind of like conceptualize it. But we talked about trauma. We talked about childhood trauma. We talked about relationship trauma. Here's another little tangent to that, right? Some of us look for in our partner what we didn't get from our parents. So we're going to flip it on its head a little bit, because there's two sides to this coin. So I need y'all to stay with me. Some people who are the parent in the relationship are looking for a partner that is willing to, or will allow them to, whether they accept it or not, for them to be the parent and have the parent-child relationship that they always wanted to have. So now you get to be in control and dictate things, even though that's not your kid. But here's the other side of it. The person that's on the receiving end may be seeking someone to mother them or father them. So they want it. So sometimes you'll see these relationships and you wonder, why are they staying? Why would they be talked to like? Some people have some things going on that make them look for a mommy and a daddy. And so they're going to look for somebody who's a little bit more authoritative. You ever hear these people say, some women will say, I need a man that's going to check me. He going to put me in my place if I get out of line. Some of y'all get turned on by that. But be careful. You go too high up that ladder of authority, you're going to get some interesting prizes on the top end of that, right? So be mindful. But that kind of starts to feel like a parenting. It's like your daddy telling you to shut up and sit down. Right? And whatever your little twisted little fantasy, maybe you like that, but if that's something that happens on a daily basis and you're like, whatever, I don't know. Maybe I'm the weirdo, but it's kind of weird for, two 50-year-olds to be somebody being chastised like a little kid. You got to think about these things when you make a choice not to fight for yourself and how you believe you need to be treated. So I need for y'all to kind of sit on that for a second. Sometimes we looking for a mommy, right? And on the male side, we'll say things like, I need for you to do all of this domestic stuff for me, or else I don't want you. Because my hands are broke, right? I can't do anything. You need to do all of this for me. Take care of me. Because all I'm doing is bringing the money in. You do all the rest of the stuff and be my mommy. Not as a matter of you doing things for your man, but as a matter of dictatorship. That's when it becomes a problem. Right? Sounds like this. I've been at work all day. You didn't cook the food? What's wrong with you? Ain't that your job? Handle that. It's the person you love, right? It's your boo. It's your bae. You're talking to him like that. It's abusive. So are you really looking for your life partner? Are you looking for somebody to dominate and treat like they're your child? And you have to ask yourself, where does that need come from? Not born this way. Where does that need come from? Why do you need to control another human being? What is it in you that makes you need to have that much control? Everything comes from a place. So some people have to go talk to a therapist and try to figure it out because it comes from a place. And all you're going to do is you're going to keep choosing people that you can manipulate and control for the rest of your life. And you're going to leave a trail of broken people along that path that some innocent person is going to meet one day, and they're going to be ruined because of you. Y'all know I always talk about Billy and Susie. So the next thing, and I kind of lightly touched on it, that I want to touch on because I'm not going to be before you long tonight. Communication. How do we communicate with each other? What does it sound like? Are you asking your partner to do something, or are you giving a command? Like you're talking to a child. You better do this, or else. And then you punish them, right? Can't beat them up or spank them, so what do? You give them the silent treatment until they do what you want. You yell at the top of your lungs. Why didn't you do this? What's wrong with you? I'm a grown-up. Y'all know I'm the tone police. Stop. Partnership, relationship, marriage, respect me. And some of us have been through so much that we don't even know what respect looks like. So we deal with it and accept it. It's a lot of men out here that get talked to like that every day and they choose silence. It's a lot of women out here that hear this stuff every day and they choose silence because they don't want to start over. They don't want to ruin whatever that mystical time was when everything felt amazing. You chasing a high, but you're being talked to like a dog every day. That's where all of this self-love and all of this other stuff comes from. What are you really taking in? Think about it. The same person who is being treated like this will tell everybody else, I'm online every day and I make sure nothing negative that I go listen to on YouTube is always positive stuff because I don't need that negative stuff affecting me. Huh? You don't need what? Negativity affecting you live in it every day. But you're so numb to it that you kind of brush it off. But there's a corrosion that happens on the inside of you. And I'm going to skip a little bit over some of this stuff because I think it makes more sense. When you are being parented, and I'm calling it parented in this way because it's really a parent-child relationship. What happens when that corrosion happens on the inside of you, right? That's any negativity that you soak in over a certain amount of time. There's a certain level of corrosion that happens with your soul and your spirit. And when you put an individual through this on a regular basis, this is how resentment is born. And Tashura's on here. This is how you wake up dead. Funny, not funny, right? This is how you get grit thrown on your face one day because they just get tired of it. That resentment runs deep. And even with the resentment, you still don't leave. You still don't check them because there's a fear of loss. And maybe you even fear the person themselves. If I say something, what are they going to do? What are they going to say? You're afraid of the reaction. From who? The person that you love the most, your partner. You're afraid of another human being that's supposed to be your ride or die. You're scared of that person. What kind of relationship is that? When you have a fear of the person that you live in the same house with. Imagine what that's like waking up every morning. Some of you already know what it feels like because you've been there. It's like living in jail. And you're the kid that's being chastised. How many people been chastised by a grown adult before? It don't feel good. Doesn't feel good. So it's a couple more places I'm gonna take y'all tonight. That's gonna ring some trigger bells for y'all. Another type of relationship that could feel like a parent-child relationship is when you're in a relationship with a narcissist or someone that shows a lot of narcissistic tendencies. By definition, the control is baked in. By definition, with all the gaslighting and all the other manipulation that happens in a narcissistic relationship, you are the child. And that person, male or female, is the parent because they have control over you. And it sucks because it didn't start out that way. So you believe that it could get better. But it's not. Because there's something within that person that they need to be in control. That's nothing that you can fix. They may have to go see a therapist or figure it out. Because there's some people that literally get diagnosed with it, right? But that's not your cross to bear. I really need for y'all to really think about this. This is why on my platform, I'm always going to coach, teach, train, being very to observe, to listen, to retain information so that you can use it when you need it, because human behavior doesn't change. It doesn't change. Human behavior does not change. How we view people does. But as long as I've been on this earth, at least, and I know way before me, certain things mean certain things. It still does. It doesn't change. People who have certain types of traumas, certain types of behaviors, narcissists, people with narcissistic tendencies, people that just want to be in control, they don't want to be hurt again, so they got to manipulate and control you. There are patterns that come along with that. We have to be more in tune with ourselves to be able to notice when something is wrong. I literally had a training that I had to do for work, for safety precautions or whatever. And they said, when you notice something's wrong, like a malicious email or some other thing that you know don't feel right, the first thing you do is say something. You don't even engage. Let that person know that something ain't right so that we can work on it. Now, that person may not want to work on it. Now you got a decision to make. Love be damned if you're being treated like a dog every day. We're not talking about arguments and disagreements. We're talking about being treated like a little kid. That's not what we turn into grown-ups for. You know, when you're a little kid and all you want to be is an adult, and then we arrive, hey, I'm grown up now, and then you meet somebody that want to push you back down. Being a grown-up ain't fun no more now. So then we have to look at our own personal traumas and what makes us want to be in a situation where we feel like this. Why can't we speak about it? Why can't we make better decisions for our lives so that we can go out here and be great? So I'm going to read this comment from Lisa Russell. I've been in a house party where the husband chastised his wife in front of everyone. She just wanted to diffuse it. She never checked. But man, we wanted to. Sad thing to watch her reaction. Yeah. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is happening every day. People you know, you will never see it. Because they suck it up to keep the peace. And I believe it was either one of my shows or a reel that I did where I said keeping the peace doesn't really work. You might keep the environment quiet, but are you at peace? The answer is no, because you never resolved it. And we all know people who have been in these tumultuous situations and then they finally get out of it. And it's like, it's hard to get back to who you are after that. It's hard. Y'all see these people that come out of these narcissistic relationships or abusive relationships. It's not the same person. That's why it's important And that's why I'm here. One of the reasons why I'm here is to give you those glasses to put on so that you can see stuff that your heart won't allow you to see. It's something you have to train, right? You got to train yourself to be observant. You have to train yourself not to fall for certain things because it feels good. Doesn't mean that it has to be this aggressive thing. It's a muscle that you got to work out. So it becomes second nature to you because it's important that you take ownership of the decisions you make. It's important for you to take ownership of the decisions you make. Love Tucker says, I'm not the same. Yeah. Think about it, guys. And I'm going to say we, in a universal sense, we've been talked to by people like we are crap under their shoe. And we felt horrible. And then we leave the relationship and we got to be okay to do it again. We got to try, keep trying. Because we don't want to be by ourselves per se. So I got to get back out there and date again. And that's why we always talk about taking time to get some healing, coaching, therapy, something. Because it takes a piece out of you. And then the byproduct of that is when you meet this amazing man or woman, they're getting 70% you. When you know they deserve your best, the best that you can be, and you're not there yet, because it still hurts. And then, when you get into this new relationship with this wonderful person, certain things they do, it's going to trigger you. And now you like, is this going to be the same thing again? I'm scared. So we got to be mindful of who we partner with. And when it doesn't feel good, you either got to say something or get out. It's not easy because we love so hard. But who do you love more? You or them? So Lisa says it's very sad and you can tell she just goes along with it for peace, but that ain't no peace. Yeah. It's never peaceful to keep the peace. You know how many men I talk to that say, man, I ain't going to say nothing. I'm just going to keep the peace. I've done it too. Like, we think it's cool to do that. It's not. Y'all ever heard I pick and choose my battles? Who are you battling? You going to war with somebody? Who's that? Oh, your wife? Your husband? You going to war with them? And I know there's nuance to that. Think about the words, though. I always tell people, words mean everything. What kind of battle are you trying to go up against? This person that you love more than anything on the planet. You're going to war with them. So I'm going to choose what I'm going to share because I'm afraid of the battle. If you're afraid of a battle on a rolling, consistent basis, what are you doing? You're afraid. I'm going to say it loud. You're afraid to talk to your husband or your wife. Afraid. You got to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? They're going to yell at me. They're not going to like me no more. They're going to leave. What are you afraid of? That you can't even speak your mind anymore. What have we become? And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? that fear that you have in that relationship will carry on to the next one, and the other person don't even have to do the same behavior. It's a part of you. When you don't address it, it becomes a part of you in perpetuity until you decide to handle it. So if you're in a relationship and you feel like you being treated like a child and you don't address it, it stays with you. There's a fear that never leaves, and you hope that no one else makes you feel like that. And let your next partner voice get elevated for whatever reason, you going into shock mode. PTSD. We got to work on ourselves, y'all. Or we're going to keep repeating history over and over and over again. And it's going to keep hurting. Remember, I told you, every time you experience trauma, it takes a part of you. If it goes unchecked, guess what happens? So much of you is missing that when people encounter that broken version of you, they get to take advantage of it. And guess what? You get hurt again. The same way. And you don't have no fight left in you, so you're going to stay. And that is what happens to people like the woman that Lisa mentioned earlier. There's no more fight left. So I might as well deal with it because it's what I know. It's the same thing that any type of person that's ever been abused that stay, well, at least I know what I'm getting. If I leave, I might encounter somebody worse. As if you don't have the power to choose. Right? So, the next place I want to go, this might be, I have two more places I want to go, and then we're going to wrap up. The next place I want to go, when we're talking about a parent-child dynamic, is someone that has expectations of another person that might be a little unfair, might be a little too much. A little too much. You expect too much. And guess what happens when you have these expectations that might be unfair? It's a little too much. When they're not met, you get pissed off. And when you get pissed off, guess what you're going to do to your partner? You're going to chastise them. You're going to talk to them in a way that makes them feel like crap because they didn't meet your expectations. Does it mean you have no expectations? No. I'm talking about unrealistic. Just don't even make sense to the person that you decide to be with. I'll give you an example. Let's say a woman meets a guy and she has the expectation that he's supposed to be a certain type of man. He's supposed to be able to, I don't know, fix plumbing, change oil in a car, get up under the hood, because that's what a man's supposed to do. That's my expectation. But you chose to marry a sci-fi nerd type of guy who don't do none of that. Has a ton of value, but that's just not in his wheelhouse. He know how to pay to get somebody to do it, but that ain't who he is. So now when something happens, something got to get fixed in the car, you pissed off. You ain't a real man. You supposed to know these things. It hurts, right? The audacity. And you know the type of person that I am, and you have this expectation that I'm going to be this vision of what you expect. the math ain't mathing. Doesn't work like that. So now that you have chastised this other person, they got a couple of decisions to make, right? They can speak up for themselves and say, that's not even how I'm built. You know that. We could find somebody to fix it, though. Or they decide to keep the peace. And just like any confrontation that goes unchecked, the person who's doing it, there's no consequence for it, so they're going to keep doing it again and keep doing it again. And resentment on the other side is growing. Now, the person on the receiving end is systematically changing into a whole nother version of themselves. It happens slowly, but they're changing into something else. And that something else that they have to turn into just to be with you is horrible for anybody else that they're going to meet that's worth their time. It's not fair. We know life isn't fair, but it's not fair. And when I say it's not fair for you to make a decision to continually be hurt every week, every day. We got to get some love up in us. Got to love ourselves enough to say this ain't right. So think about that. Unrealistic expectations to the point where you get so pissed off at your partner that you start to parent them and make them feel less than because they don't meet this thing that doesn't even make sense in the first place. The last place I want to go, which is debatable in these internet streets and in life now. It's a word that I love to hate. It's that word called submission. And I think that there's about 10 definitions of what people think it means. And y'all know these men online will say this submission word and what you need to do to submit to a man and all of these things. And depending on the definition that they use, it starts to look like a parent-child situation. It starts to look like a dictatorship. So now, when you talk about this word called submission, it starts to look like the thing that gets a lot of women riled up when they hear it. Who are you, grown man, to talk to me, a grown woman, about what I better do? It's insane. Because remember earlier in this conversation tonight, I used the word respect. Do you respect someone that you got to talk down to and dictate things to? Is that a respectful relationship? And if it isn't, is that where you want to lay your head? For years and years on end. We know these people that do it. And those of us who have been through it and we're on the other side of it, it's not a happy place to be. So really think about that. Like, in my house, we don't even, like, that's why I always tell people, very few married people that you would ever meet even use this word. We just make it work. The ebbs and flows, the financial ebbs and flows, the emotional ebbs and flows, we make it work. Ain't nobody, you better do, who's doing that? I mean, I know some people do it, but respect. It's 2022, respect. And I know some people need to have somebody to be subservient to them, but do you want to be in that type of dynamic? When you're talking about respect. So I'm going to go ahead and start to land this big old plane that I created today. But I need for y'all to send this to whoever you think needs to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page if you haven't. I have a guest coming next week named Kiki Chanel, and we got an amazing topic, which lends itself into mental health. We're going to talk about, I believe the title is something to the effect of being burned out and overwhelmed and still being in love. And how do you manage yourself in a relationship when you're dealing with burnout? What does that look like? So make sure that you come back for that, because I know a lot of you guys have been in these situations, and we just going to chop it up and talk about it. So yeah, hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Make sure if you haven't clicked that thumb, if you like what you heard, make sure you click that thumb so YouTube knows that you like it. And I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to try my best to do a pop-up on Instagram tomorrow, depending on, how my day goes. So make sure you stay tuned for those. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you go to relationshipgumbo.info. Click on, you can follow me on Instagram there. The links are there, but also make sure you click on, I believe it says this week's events or something to that effect. Click on that, and you're going to get like this big thing that tells you everything that I'm doing. And something else that I added on there too for you guys who really enjoy my content, I also added a link for Buy Me a Coffee. So if you love the content, you want to make a donation, a small donation to the cause, Buy Me a Coffee, and so I can make this thing continue to evolve and look amazing and all these other things. And I will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of those around you, and be the best version of yourself as many days as you can. I'll see you guys next week. Y'all have an amazing night. Good night.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make